What happened to the music thing? Gotta dance right away. Can't even break down a little bit. Good morning, everyone. PowerlifeTV broadcast. Pastor Brian
and Pastor Tasha
here to give you another great broadcast. It's Tuesday. Now we tried a new soundtrack here to you know background music for us, and there's it. Now it kicked in.
What are you doing? You're not even with the beat.
I was trying to remind us we need to pray. Amen. It's supposed to be a prayer reminder, but oh well. This is the day that the Lord has made.
We will rejoice and be glad
in it.
So this morning you gave me a new drink.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought it was mine.
It was mine.
Thank you for sharing.
It was mine.
So I drank all of his drink, just about.
Now, how's your face feeling?
And whatever it was that he gave me, it made my face feel like it was burning and my arms feel like it was burning. And I said, I'm never doing that again.
You can't drink it like you're drinking water.
I know.
It's a pre-workout.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one thing it did do is give me this great big
burst of energy. Yeah.
So I've been cleaning and everything.
So I'm just going to sit back and let you talk today.
Oh, I hope I don't do that.
Good morning, Angel. That's right.
Good morning.
She said rejoice always.
Yes, that's right.
And I say rejoice. So,
Lori Brown.
Good morning, Lori.
Lori Brown helped me with my hair. Yeah. So I want to thank you, Miss Lori, so much.
Miss Lori helped you with your hair?
Well, she helped me choose the right stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Lori.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you.
She has an eye for it.
I'll tell you what. We have the best church.
Yeah, we do.
We do. We have the best church. We got the best people, and we love our family. Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
And so this is our anniversary week.
That's right.
We just gonna celebrate
all week
for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I like
I'm surprised because a lot of times we take a whole month, but we've been distracted this year.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot going on in June. Yeah, but it's okay. It's all good. We talked about, well, let me let you know when our anniversary is. It's tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow on June 23rd. See, I remember. June 23rd, it'll be 25 years that we've been married. Can you believe that 25 years, y'all?
Yeah.
And it seems like it's been only 2.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I think we learned a lot about oneness in the 25 years we've been married. And, when you first get married, it's all about independence. And, I often talk about the first time you mixed your clothes with my clothes, and I said, wait a minute. It ain't supposed to go like that. And you're like, what?
What? I ain't good.
You didn't get it. You're like, wait a minute. I separated the darks from the lights, and I put in softener. What's the problem? And I said, but your socks are next to my socks.
Yeah. You were used to being by yourself.
I was used to washing my own clothes separate.
Yeah.
And so when you mixed your clothes with mine, I had a problem. There was a mental block there,
Yeah. That's interesting though. I wonder how many people deal with that.
I don't know.
Especially if you've been single and whole for a while. What is the mental thing that you dealt with?
So I actually have a friend, and she was single for a long time. Her son and Kristen are about the same age, and after many years of being single, she got married. And she said, I thought I wanted to be married until I got married. And then she said, then I had to rethink everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because she was so used to being independent. She was so used to not having to ask somebody or tell somebody, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. She was so used to being independent that to be married, she was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
The whole ball and chain idea came into play, And in fact, instead of it being liberating, it began to feel constricting. And so, marriage is a different kind of environment.
Well, that's when we were talking yesterday about how you literally have to, you grow into oneness.
You really do.
And that love that we share one towards another is a decision. You
oh
know?
my God.
And you make a decision. Now, I've jumped across the broom here, and I ain't no turning back,
Yep.
And the world likes to offer options.
Oh, yes. The
loopholes.
option to true intimacy is pornography and friends with benefits.
Yep.
And one night stands and superficial relationships.
Definitely.
And, very often people think I can have a relationship where I have all the things that I desire without the sacrifice that's involved in having a deeper relationship.
Right.
You see, there's no such thing as having a relationship without giving up some things and also adding things.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Every good relationship requires initiative. It requires initiative. And if especially the husband, if the husband feels like my marriage is not going the way I desire for my marriage to go, then he has to recognize his ability to lead, his ability to take the initiative. How does he lead? He leads in the romance. He leads in the children, in the discipline, in the spirituality of the home, in the finances of the home. And he also leads in the well-being of the home in a loving and equal environment.
So good.
And when the husband learns to do this, really most things kind of fall into place after this. And you might say, are you saying that the husband is responsible? I'm saying that the husband has a leadership quality that you cannot deny, that he has a visual gift for the well-being of the household.
Well, you think about this. Into every man, God built the DNA of leadership. Now,
he did.
Now,
purpose, initiative, competition, all of those risk taking, even the man's ego. And some people will say, well, what you're talking about, a woman can have all those things too, but all you have to do, if you don't think that there's a difference between boys and girls, go into a daycare. Go into a daycare and watch 2- and 3-year-olds, even 4-year-olds, boys and girls in a mixed group, and observe the differences. And what we have done in this society is we've said everybody's the same. And the truth of the matter is that God has built into us a certain nature. Now, can there be women who have leadership qualities, who take initiative? Absolutely. In fact, the father very often teaches the daughters these things. Not to say that the mother can't. I'm just saying that for the father, it comes very natural.
Well, really, men have to teach their daughters how to take charge, because there are not enough men teaching the boys how to be leaders. And that's a whole different broadcast. But I want to say this real quickly, because what happens with men are by nature at times, well, I say by nature, but I think it's an evolution of being submissive. Men are very submissive, so they don't take the initiative. They don't take the role as being a leader as a man, and
not if the wife is so willing to just do everything. He's willing to sit back and let her do it.
And I want to say this though. I believe that man was given the DNA of a leader at the beginning, but we see with Adam became submissive to the will of his wife. Now, what's happened is because of sin, men now are more submissive than we are leaders. So what we do is we say, whatever you want to do, you can do that. We can do that. Oh, wherever you want to go, we'll go there. But women love a man that will take initiative. Women love a man that will be a leader. And love
the decision to go on a date. Or to have a romantic evening. It should not always be in the hands of the wife.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when you look at Ephesians 5 and verse 25, listen to this. It says, husbands, agape your wives.
Agape.
Make the decision to initiate. Make the decision to lead. Make the decision to initiate in romance. Initiate with the children. Initiate with discipline. Initiate spiritually. Initiate with the finance. Make that decision as Christ did for the church.
Right. And even churches have rearranged things in such a way that they cater to women.
Yeah.
And it's very subtle.
That's so true.
But the reason why is because if you look in most churches, 70% of the congregation is female. Mm-hmm. And so now you have flowers, and now you have certain things that certainly do cater to women.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, if you get a man and a husband who loves God and can stand for the things of God, he has a higher probability of bringing his entire family to church than if the woman falls in love with Jesus.
That's right.
A lot of times we see that the woman is dragging her husband to church, and sometimes as the children get older, she's dragging the kids. Mm-hmm. That's why it's an interesting dynamic that on Mother's Day, the church is often filled to overflowing, but on Father's Day, the church is often a little less full. And the reason why is because the kids and the family are catering to a man who does not want to go to church.
That's right.
And so you have to look at that dynamic and say, well, now who is the leader of the spiritual well-being of this household? And very often that's the mother. You look at prisons, and prisons, when it comes to Mother's Day, the commissary, or the place where they buy cards for mothers, they will sell out because the inmates will go above and beyond. They will try to do something to reach out to their mothers. The mothers very often, they're such nurturers that whatever is happening, if it's Mother's Day, they want their children to come to church with them. That's the best thing their children can do for them, is to thrive spiritually.
And pray for them, yeah.
And pray for them. Father's Day rolls around, and then there aren't so many cards. And to me, that points to the lack of leadership, not only spiritually, but in the things like discipline, the things like
because they're not disciplined themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what we often don't see is the function of the father, the function of the husband in the household, when he does not function based on how God created him with purpose. When the woman comes in and tries to do it, she can be effective to a certain degree, but he's anointed. He's anointed for things that very often the wife is doing.
And I want to say this real quickly, because a lot of ladies may be watching us now and saying, well, I can't find a good man. All the men are this or that, or
this is not a black guy.
This is not and really I want to help you because you got to become a person of faith. Whatever words you hang around, whatever things you allow into your heart is what you become. And if you only feel like men are this or men are that, or you can't talk to men, or men, are so undisciplined, and you keep calling them that, that's what men are going to become.
Right.
But there is something called faith out there. It's the original technology. It knows how to turn things around. It knows how to make things change, and you're going to have to start even speaking over your own men, over your young boys, over your husbands, over your sons, your uncles, your cousins. You're gonna have to start speaking life over them, because they're only gonna become what you call them.
That's exactly right. And we don't solve problems by getting into denial.
Yeah.
That long river in Africa.
Yeah, come on. Say that.
Called denial. But it does mean this, that when we see a problem, if God would have looked upon the formless, dark earth and said, damnation, is dark out there, then the earth would be in an eternal state of darkness and damnation.
That's right.
But when he looked at the problem of a formless, dark earth, what he said is, let there be light.
Yeah.
So, you have to take authority over the tongue. But, what you have to do first before you can take authority over the tongue and begin to change a thing is you must first see the problem.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about oneness today.
Yeah.
We're talking about oneness in marriage. And what does oneness look like? Oneness is achieved by being, as a husband and wife, one in God's purpose, one in God's will, one in God's love, one in worship towards God. And, in order to do that, you cannot fall into the trap of trusting in your emotions. You have to be, like you said, where it says in Ephesians, husbands, love your wife. Husbands must agape. In other words, make a decision to fall into unconditional love with each other. I mean,
and lead in that area.
Yes. Let me give you some statistics about fatherhood in America. And we have to recognize the importance of the role of the husband, the role of the father, the role of the man in the household. 38% of all children in America, this was an old statistic, by the way, it's probably higher now. 38% of all children in America live without their father. 50% of today's children live at least half their lives without their father. 46% of all families with children headed by single mothers live below the poverty line. Wow. So compared with the 8% who live in a two-parent household. So what it's saying is that the father and mother staying together, the husband and the wife staying together, what it does is it predicts whether or not you're going to be in poverty or whether or not you're going to create a generational wealth now for your family.
That's so good. Yeah.
You have to see that the role of the husband, the role of the father, you want to know why we have such a happy marriage? Well, guess what? A lot of that rested on your shoulders when you made a decision to lead and to take responsibility for the household well-being. Then you took charge of these things, and didn't leave it all in my hands.
Yeah, I want to just real quickly, we were talking yesterday about our story and how we met and everything. But one thing I knew, that when I got born again, my family was coming with me. My whole family. I had the responsibility, I had the mental capacity to think, if I'm saved, my whole family getting saved. Yeah. And I took the initiative. I said, we're going to go to church together. We're going to pray together. We're going to have Bible studies together. And look at what it turned out to be. We started a church. But what happens is, we got to replicate that idea into other men. You have to you can't just say, well, it's us four and no more. You gotta teach one, and lead your family in the things of God, because those statistics are horrible in my eyes.
Yeah.
To see poverty and there's some more statistics that I want you to read, but how to see the children, they don't turn out as well.
Right. Well, according
you gotta love your family more than that.
Listen to this. The U.S. Department of Labor says that the absent father can affect the person's economic prospects beyond childhood.
Wow.
So it's not just isolated to the time that the child is in the household, but it goes into generational poverty.
Wow.
Now, just having that father absent from the household, it often turns into generational poverty. And, that's here in the United States, in the land of opportunity, and a place where you can get grants and scholarships. And, you would think every door is open, but, the father's presence, the father's not just being physically present, but being mentally present, causes wholeness now. We have to realize that wholeness is this: nothing missing and nothing broken.
So good. That's right.
And the father's being present in the life of his family causes wholeness. Now, this is not an indictment against men.
Yeah,
I think we need to recognize this, because the woman has a role to play too. You know, and our job is to be more compatible and not to resist our husband, and not to just be so convinced and so security motivated that we miss the things that God created on the inside of men that's going to propel the family forward. The risk taking, you know, even when it comes to investments, the people who actually make it big in the investment world are the ones who take the biggest risks.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, they lose the biggest too, but they make it the biggest. And so, you know, a woman is security motivated, and so she's going to be more keen to not take a risk. But do you recognize that you need the mix? You need the mix.
Here's the thing too in oneness that I believe is important. Let your husbands lead.
Right.
Allow him to lead.
Well, you know, the woman who is so security motivated will not put a brand new doorknob on the house. You know, because she's afraid. She's afraid to do certain things. She's so concerned with, you know, and sometimes it's opposite. Sometimes the husband is more security motivated, and sometimes the wife is more the risk taker. There's always a saver and a spender in the house. It's very seldom that you'll see two savers or two spend. Well, you sometimes see two spenders, but anyway, today you do. But the spender is gonna say, no, it's time for us to we need some toilet paper.
The spender.
The spender is gonna say, we need toilet paper, okay? You know, we need, you know what I'm saying? And so you need both people in the house.
I want to kind of finish my thought when I said something about let your husband lead. One of the things that I know that a security motivated woman tends to try to lead everything, you know. And
she wants to be the boss.
She wants to be the boss because you know, all I can see is that money is leaving, and I don't want it to leave, and so I'm afraid that
so she's operating in
if
fear.
I don't do what I know to do, then this whole family's gonna crash. You know, and there are times that you have to let your husband lead. Let him feel like the hero. You know, there's this big thing that you said it earlier, we have egos, you know, and if a man can't feel like a leader, he won't lead.
That's true.
You know, if he feels like you're always going to take charge and, you know, and he can't do anything, and he's not going to try to lead, he's just going to sit back, you know, because I think it's that whole mentality, if you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah.
So let your husbands lead. Give environments for him to lead, and don't be. There are a lot of strong women out there, and I don't know who I'm talking to, but there's a lot of strong women out there that says if I don't do it, it won't get done. You know, and
there are situations like that.
And there's a lot of situations like that. But I'm saying if you're married right now, you know, one thing you and I had to learn in these 25 years is, you know, I had to be the leader, you know, and you had to let me lead.
Yeah.
Because you're very strong, you know, and that's not an indictment. It's just saying that you are strong and you like to make sure things are right.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And then you can look 10 miles down the road where I'm only looking 2, and you're saying, no, if we keep going this way,
this can happen.
This can happen. But you learned some things in the 25 years of saying, no, Lord, you lead him. You speak to him.
Right. You know, sometimes we want to trust God for things, but as soon as we trust God, we say, okay, I got the wheel.
Yeah, let me drive.
Let me drive.
Yeah.
And God is saying very often, if you trust me, I can drive. I know how to drive. Right. Let me take the wheel, and I'll show him what he won't hear from me.
Yeah, come on.
You know, I'll reveal to him. And if you really trust me, you know, God is often saying, let me do it. Let me speak to him. You know, and you know, if your husband's not listening to you, talk to his boss. You know, and so we're often trying to achieve this place of oneness, but to be one and to be whole as a couple, we have to have an atmosphere of emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical oneness. Now, very often we focus on the physical oneness, but we need it all. And for oneness to occur, then we have to have this thing called sacrifice. We have to have this thing called surrender. We have to be able to say that whatever I think or what I call my own, whatever I think I have complete and total authority over, I have to decide to share now. And talk to me a little bit. You kind of hit on this, but what changed in your mind concerning family when you got born again? Because one thing is that you very much did take charge of certain things. For instance, you got born again right before our oldest daughter was born. And so when she was born, you said, no, I'm going to be the first one to change this diaper, which blew my mind because I did not expect that. So talk to me a little bit about what changed.
So, I mean, you know, even I got born again, but the thing of it is that I always had this sense that if it's mine, I'm going to take care of it. And I wasn't always like that. I really wasn't. I wasn't always like that. But I think it's when I got born again and God came in me. I received His nature. And you know, when you receive the nature of God, you receive love. Love is His nature. And so with that love comes the decision to be responsible. And that's the only way I can say it. I made the decision to be responsible. But I even had this decision in my heart when you walk down the aisle. You know, I thought, okay, I don't see just a beautiful woman walking down the aisle. I see responsibility. I see the need to, you know, share. I see the need to make sure she's happy.
Right.
I see the need to make sure my family's happy. You know, and so I got to do whatever it takes to get us to that place.
Yep.
You know.
I know it was important at some point. You know, you said it's important to get my family in a house. You were not content for us
being in an apartment
to raise a child in an apartment, and you know, you felt like you wanted to have a backyard. You wanted to have a neighborhood, you know, where our children could, you know, be friends with the neighbors and things like that. So it was important for you to get us in a house. And, you know, so your pursuits changed, you know, when you got born again. And it stopped being all about you. You know, it started to be more about us.
And, you know, that's all I can say. That's my story. You know, it was about us. And this is what I have to say to other men. Before you try to get married, make sure you have wholeness in your heart.
Wow.
Make sure you're ready. Make sure you know what you're doing. A lot of people, I think, get into a relationship not knowing what they're doing.
Do you think sometimes that we get in relationships trying to be whole?
Yeah.
Trying to lean on somebody else's gifts in order to be whole?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Like, you know, I hear people say, you complete me. And I thought, well, what happens if something happens to that person? You're going to be broken?
Yeah.
You're going to always be broken? You know, and God did not call us to be broken individuals. He called us to be whole.
Yeah.
So then I can't find my wholeness in you, but I do have to find my oneness with you.
And you know, our time is running out, but what I want to say too is that I saw the spiritual need. That spiritual thing to me was the highest form of responsibility. When I got to the mindset that we are going to church, we're going to find a church.
You did.
Yeah.
And I remember, oh my gosh, I remember kind of being resistant because I felt like other pursuits were more important than that. And you know, we had many discussions over that. And you have to understand, for me, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, my husband done got born again.
Yeah.
What happened to
my fun husband?
I have lost my fun husband. You know, you began going to church, which I thought when you got born again at first, I thought it was a phase.
That's another thing. Yeah, I feel like I started and stopped a lot of stuff in my life, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't just a phase.
Yeah, and I think I perceived that about you, that you had the ability to start something and stop it, and start it and stop it. And I thought, okay, he started this, but he's going to stop it. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah. 25 years later. Listen, our time has run out. We're going to have to pick up tomorrow, but we're talking about oneness. You know, I feel like this is probably the most important topic we could talk about when it comes to our 25 years of marriage. What we did is we grew not from just submission to each other, we grew into oneness.
Yes, and I feel bad that we didn't weave a lot of scripture into this.
Yeah.
But this whole thing comes from Genesis 2:24. It says, "Therefore shall the man leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." So the goal of marriage is not that we can live a great life independent but together, but what God really wants is for us to finally get to a place of oneness.
That's right.
And he's the one who shows us how to be one.
Yeah. So we're going to stop right there. We love you. Let us speak a blessing over you. The Lord bless you and keep you.
The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace.
We declare shalom and blessings over your life. And we declare that Jesus is Lord and he's upholding all things by the word of his power. Be blessed. We love you. We'll see you next time.